Hey folks, I thought I'd come out and do a quick message, being I haven't done one for a while, but I've been praying about this for a little bit. I wanted to talk about what a Christian looks like, and we know what a Christian sounds like, but do we know what one looks like? If it's just looking at the person, okay, from here up, do you know that this guy's a Christian, or do you know that that person is him or her or whatever? And so we have in us a prejudgment about anybody and anything. We all are prejudiced to a degree, and not saying against people of different races or colors or whatnot. It's just we all have an idea what a person is supposed to look like in our opinion, and when people don't fit that mold, well, it kind of changes. But what got me on this track was a very good friend. Young man, very, 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 very studied Christian young man. Years ago, was having a hard time getting his mind to rest and having a hard time getting to sleep, and so he started drinking to get some sleep, and it developed into an alcohol problem, and he has a problem with it. I, in my past, have struggled with alcohol. I wrestled with alcoholism for a lot of years, but I gave it up. And so it's a lot harder for me to talk to people who have alcohol problems because I just walked away. I figured if I didn't start, I never had to stop. Pretty simple, pretty easy. But it's got me on to thinking about what does a Christian look like? If you were to walk down the street and you were to see me walking down the road, you'd say, "Oh, hey, that guy's a Christian." What would make you think that I am? It might be my FBI hat that I have on. It says FBI, full believer in Jesus on there. Well, hey, that'd be a clue. Or I might have a shirt, that says, something about, scripture or something for a tattletale sign, or the back of my car. I got a license plate frame that says, "Do you follow Jesus?" This close. But what else? So let's just change it up here. So let's say you're in a restaurant and some guy comes up to you and he's liquored up. He's had a lot to drink. And, "Hey, well, let's talk about Jesus." And he's slurring and whatnot. Well, most people have a perception of what a good Christian is supposed to look like. And somebody who's slurring their words and appears pretty drunk isn't one of them. And so Proverbs talks about, in Proverbs 31, it talks about when a man can drink or when a person can drink. It's when they're perishing, so to ease their pain, or if they're in poverty, so they remember their poverty no more. But it talks about how it's not for kings or princes to drink much because they can't make wise decisions. And so that's got me on the thing of what does a Christian look like. And so I've thought about it a lot. And going back to that person that we were talking about, the one that's got that's had a couple to drink, and or let's just say he's from Oregon, he's just stoned, and talking about Jesus, and it just doesn't have that appearance of being in a good spot, and so people wouldn't take you, what I would say, seriously. And so. And even out of our talk, the way we speak, you can't go around dropping F-bombs all the time and be in a good spot as far as I'm concerned with the Lord, because Jesus said we're going to be judged for every idle word, and I don't want my words to be idle. I don't want to speak junk. I want to speak things that are filling and uplifting, and what comes from above is first pure and peaceful and easy to entreat. And I want to be that kind of person. And so I want people to be able to have a conversation with me and them actually not remember my name, but remember who I represent. And so if a person comes up there drunk and they're being that way, well, that's, people are going to look at them, well, okay, whatever, dude, because you probably aren't given a really good reference. But if you go up to them and sincerely and honestly talk about what God has done in your life, or what Jesus has done with you and for you and to you, and how it's changed, and how you are, and your speech being something that people would want to hear, and that you're speaking to them and are speaking with them and not at them, and that you're trying to enlighten and try to lift and not hold people down. And so it's one of those things, if we aren't in the right place, we become a tripping point. And I don't want people to be tripping over me. I don't want people to go, well, but he does this and this and this, and he isn't really living rightly. And it's just like being a gossiper. If you walk up to talk to somebody, they, oh man, such and such did blah 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 blah, and talking all about what they think that other person has done, or start telling mistruths, or stretching it out, or enveloping, and it can all happen. So what we're going out there to show that we're Christians. There's the old song, they will know we're Christians by our love. Can we outlove everything that comes by? Can you turn the other cheek and let somebody else slap that one too? Can you let somebody sue you for your coat and give them your shirt, as Jesus talked about in the Sermon on the Mount? Can you give to the poor? Can you give to the needy? Can you give just because they want it? And I mean, there's so many things that we can do to show that we have the love of the Lord in our heart. Are you judgmental? I know I am. I try not to be. I try hard to not be judgmental. I try, but the prejudices in us, because we're raised in a way, or we walk in a way, and well, like me with alcoholism, I just walked away from it. So I have a problem with people who have a problem and can't stop. I always figure, you know what? I did it. They can too. So what about the people that can't? Well, I need to figure that out. I need to work on me. Because, see, I'm not perfect by a long shot. And I'm not trying to state that I am. I'm just trying to say, hey, what does a Christian look like? What does a Christian not look like, in your opinion? I'd really like to know. Please put in the comments down below. I would really like to hear what a Christian does not look like. What are the prejudices that you have that would say, you know what, that person is not the way, they aren't living? Yeah. Years ago, Max Stafford and I, wonderful man that I was in ministry with, we asked some high school kids, okay, why are you mad at God? Whew. You go ask somebody why they're mad at God sometime. You go ask why they're upset, why they have a thing against God, or why they have a thing against Christians. And ask. You know what? Because if we don't ask, we don't know what they have against Christians. What do they have against us? And I was reading the Didache, which is a book that the early Christians put out, or the early Jews or the Christian Jews that put out about how to be a Christian. It was written for the Gentiles, is what it said, and it talks about this thing about how to be a good Christian. And wonderful read. Not a very big book, like 16 chapters, I think. But it talks about how to be giving and how to not lie and how to not be this or not be that, because it leads to these other things. What does a Christian look like? I want to be known. I want people to be able to see me and go, hey, wow, dude, there's a believer. I want to be able to, if they start convicting Christians, I want to be convicted. I would like to be the first one to go to jail or in front of the firing squad or whatever they have out there, because it's what we're asked to do. And there was I read a deal a while back about some folks who were meant to go in the Colosseum, and they were Christians, and some was to be or to die by beast, which they turn critters loose on them so that they could get torn up, and another one was die by a mad cow, and another one by this or by that. And these people were making it through. They were making it through their trial. And according to the law back then, if you made it through, you were free. And this one lady, she was upset. And she was upset that she wasn't going to get to die as a martyr. That they were going to pass her by. That she wouldn't get to prove that she believed in Jesus so much that she was willing to die. And her friends along with her. Well, finally, they volunteered to get their throats slit. They volunteered to get killed. I mean, suicide, basically, but for their faith, because they wouldn't denounce their faith, and to denounce the faith would have gotten them out of the death penalty. But because they wouldn't denounce it, they kept marching on. And so, the Word says, if we deny the Father before man, or if we deny Jesus before man, He'll deny us before the Father. And so, I would want to be known as a Christian. I want to speak to people as a Christian. I want people to know, hey, that guy's a Christian. But I pray that His presence gets there before me. And that's how people will know that I am a Christian. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful afternoon. Please join me during the week on Facebook Live at Prayer at the Curb. I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Lord bless. Bye.